Dear Baba, everybody. Dear Baba, please be with us as we honor your beloved Mehera. Help us to glimpse even a little of the love she had for you. Um, thank you, dear Baba. Mm. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is play a little video clip. Oh, it's about 8 minutes. Uh, it felt like it really captured her beautifully. She was, I don't know what year. She was recounting early days. She was 15, and they had they were staying in the post office. And I'm just going to go through what she recounts. It's not that she's hard to understand, but it's just you might catch more if you know it. She first talks about the post office, which was that was dismantled, and she talks a little bit about that. And then about the villagers who came to all of this. She's talking about a time when he was talking to who came to love Baba. They called him the Parsi, and they weren't sure at first. She talks about that, and then she talks about Baba wanted a cup of kanji, some kind of a liquid drink, and she didn't know how to make it. She ran to her mother. Her mother told her, but they needed cardamom, and they didn't have powder. And so she enlisted Nervous, who was then Bauji. She enlisted Nervous to help her. And he helped her. He cleared a place on the running board of a car, cleaned it up. They smashed the cardamom, and they made the drink. It had to be perfect. I mean, at 15, it had to be perfect for Baba. And then, oh yes, uh, uh, she talked about Baba singing. He said when he sang with all of his heart, and it was wonderful. And then she said she was sitting looking at him and looking at his fingers, and he asked her what she was thinking. She said she was so glad that she was thinking about him, and so she told him she liked his fingers. She said, "Oh, you like my fingers?" Funny, you'll hear all this again. Now you'll really hear it because I'm sort of running through it for you. Okay, so without further ado, I will start the video. Let's see.
Betty, do you want to record this?
I am. It's recording.
It's recording. Oh, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail. Yeah. Ready. Mm. Mhm.
That building is a pity it is not there. The government had it pulled down, but it's a real pity because I had Baba's darshan in that room, and many others had Baba's darshan. For first time darshan in that room, and that was the place where Baba very first when he came to Meherabad, he stayed in that place, and he played the drum. He played the drum, and he sang on the sitar, Qawwali songs, and bhajans, composed by the perfect masters, very beautiful bhajan. And the village people used to come to Baba to listen to the songs Baba sang so beautifully, and they were very, what would you call it, happy and surprised to know that Baba can sing such um, beautiful songs in their language, Marathi. Baba could sing in Marathi because he knows 6 languages, and it comes very natural to him, and he sings Marathi, and also he knew other languages. Now, what I want to say is this, that the villagers were much attracted to Baba. When first Baba went to was staying in Meherabad, these villagers kept away. They did not know how can they have conviction, because in this thing in India there are always Hindu perfect masters, all Mohammedans, all Hindus, and so, but never a Parsi. So they could never have conviction. They could not have conviction. He said, who is this Parsi? He did not. Parsi means the rest, you know what I want to say. Of course, they did not know the word Irani. So who is this Parsi? He calls himself saint. And he could not. They could not have conviction. Could not understand. But very gradually they came to know. They got more and more interested in Baba, and the few that came to Baba to bow to him, and Baba sang these bhajans to them and talked to them about Tukaram and spiritual thing, on spiritual line. Baba talked a little bit like that to them, what they could understand. They were very impressed and very interested. And so naturally, next time, more of the villagers came to Baba that next evening when Baba play on the drum and sing bhajans and all that. And they were very happy. And so the women and children also came, and of course, naturally, the whole village came to know about Baba, and they were all gathered. Now, what happened was, I'm talking about that period was, let me see, it's very, this thing. One day, that same period I'm talking about is when we were there, Baba one day told me he wants kanji, a liquid drink, that is made hot on the fire. Don't you know kanji?
Semolina.
Yes, semolina. Yes, semolina. What is sago? Sago, yes. So he wanted kanji of sago. And I didn't know how to make the kanji, so so I rushed to to our place where 2 rooms are we had the fireplace there. I told my mother to help me to make this kanji. So my mother told me so much water I had to put in to make it liquid, and so on. So we made it a little bit sweet also. And I took it over, but then I remembered there was no cardamom. There has to be cardamom in it. What to do? So I ran and fetched some cardamom. But we didn't have that thing to make it fine powder, to grind it. Because the stone that we had the what would you call, ginger and garlic smell, and that won't do. So what to do? I was in a fix now. What to do? So I ran over to this nervous. Nervous means this one person who used to talk to me. So I said, please help me. I don't know what to do about this cardamom. What shall we do? So he said, it's very easy now. We'll bring a nice clean stone, wash it, dry it, and then there was a car, Adi's or somebody's car was waiting there. And that car, the footboard somewhere, there was a metal, stainless metal, something very clean it was. So we washed that part, and on the car, the footstep of where you step in the car, the one place there was metal, and we washed that clean. We wiped it off with a kerchief clean, and we put the cardamom and to the stone, and would you believe, yes, like that, we made the thing powder, and took out the, what do you call it, the skin of the cardamom. We peeled it and made little powder, tiny bit, put it on the kanji, and then I took it to Baba. It's so funny, I can't, it's very, how would you say, it is, like what I want to say, I don't have the words to say. Means it was so. No, what I want to say, that Baba, being the God man, the ancient one, of course I did not know he was God man, but I knew he was perfect master. But anyhow, I had to have the cardamom powder and the kanji. It has to be that flavor. So one night, Baba, kanji, the powder had to be made on this footstep of this footboard of this, what do you call this, car, and the stone, what I mean to say. So it was very like this. Anyway, Baba enjoyed it. Baba liked it. Baba says, very good kanji and all that. But we didn't tell him how the powder was made anyway, and all that. Then that evening, Baba was singing. Somebody told us that Baba's singing on the sitar today. Oh, and then we all, women, 3 of us, we went there, and we heard Baba singing, yes. We went over from our place to where Baba was there, that rooms where, the rooms which I say is not there, it's very beautiful, big room. The Adi was playing the sitar, and Baba was singing, playing the drum softly, keeping time, and Adi was playing and Baba was singing very beautifully. He had most beautiful voice. So the men, I don't know how many men there were, because I didn't look much that way, but there were men that, how do you say, on this side of Baba. And we women were on this side of Baba. I was sitting like this, not quite here, but here, like in front, not quite in front of Baba, but sideways, but facing. And the others were sitting, women, my mother and Baba's old aunt. And then Baba was singing and playing most beautifully. He was singing, take the high notes so beautifully. He sang with so much feeling, depth of feeling. Baba was singing, and with all his heart, like it was so beautiful. When he's singing, his puts all his thing in it. I don't know what you would say, his heart in it, and he was singing so beautifully. And so I was watching him singing so, how would you say, quite entranced and looking at him like that. And then I saw his fingers, playing the drums so beautifully, his fingers attracted me, looking at his fingers also. And then after just a second or two, Baba stopped singing and he asked me, he was talking, so he asked me, what are you thinking about? Oh, out of all these many years, this woman and Baba asking me what I'm thinking about, I got very this thing, sort of flustered. And I knew what I was thinking about. I was thinking about Baba's fingers. So I was glad I was thinking of Baba. So I said, Baba, I'm looking at your fingers, the very lovely fingers. Your fingers are very lovely. Baba held up his hand and said, you like my fingers? Yes. I said, yes, Baba. All right. And then he started playing. I said nothing. But he was happy that I was thinking of him, not anybody else. And I was happy also that. And that was the first experience I had that Baba asks you. Yes, yes, exactly, Baba.
How
So
old were
lovely.
you then, Mehera?
Huh?
About how old were you?
But I was going on with my 16th year. That is, I was 15.
15.
I was going on my 16th year. So then. Mm, So the singing finished and we went to our own quarters, to our own rooms.
You're muted, darling. It was beautiful. I didn't want it to end.
Well, there's a part three. There's a much longer.
okay.
It's part of, yes, I think it's Michael LePage who's been working on it. And yeah, so yeah. Wasn't that sweet? I mean, she was so young.
Very
Yeah.
sweet, very. You could see her wings. You could see her wings. And you could see the heart ring that Baba gave her when he took out those rings and put them back.
And you could hear her so well. I wasn't always able to hear her well. That might have been just me, but in this video, it's very clear.
No, me too. I also find her hard to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her expressions are just so vivid.
And so
Well,
she just had to try and find the right word. And she just had to describe every little detail. I love the whole pounding the cardamom on the running board of the car.
On the running board, I couldn't believe it. And she had so much fun with that. It was an adventure, right?
And she's not grieving in this age. She's not grieving. She's already in her element.
Wonder when it was. I don't remember a date.
and when she's describing Baba singing, and you can see her listening as she's to him as she does it, like,
Yeah.
oh.
Lived it. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. I debated, but we could just spend the hour watching a movie, but I thought it might be nice to see if people want to share. Um, and I'm realizing too that I have two Mara stories, and there'll never be any more. She's that was past. I can tell them again. I do. I tell them again and again, but that's what we have. So, and yeah. Paula? It's the unmute girl. Let's see. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm such a dork with this machine. Anyway, well, here's what I wanted to say. You know, each one of us has our Baba,
Mm,
have our Baba, and each one of us has our Mehera too,
mm,
very own Mehera. And she responds to each heart in, you know, in particular ways. She knows what everybody needs and she gives it. So,
mm.
you know, I mean, she unraveled things to me over many years. So, well, I'll tell you one story. Well, I've told my stories before, and what I'm, you know, it's like they're getting more dim, and I don't want that to happen. You know, it was lovely listening to Deb Johnny yesterday, and I was thinking, you know, I mean, that was remarkable. Her experience was incredible, and that was her experience, and it was meant, you know, but it also put us right there too. It's like, yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine what that was like, you know.
Is that
And
recorded? Deb Johnny talking about, is that recorded?
no,
No.
it wasn't recorded. I know, it's really
But
just,
why don't you, can you think you could just recount a little bit for folks who didn't hear?
well, not, you know, no, not with the way it was done. But, you know,
No.
the basic is, you know, when she went to India, well, her story is just, you know, it has so many different parts. But when she did get to India, when she did get to the Samadhi and put her head on Baba's feet, she couldn't, she couldn't put her head up. She just couldn't. I mean, there was no way. It was like a ton of bricks, and that lasted for a long time. And when she kind of she could hardly open her eyes. She had to work really hard to open her eyes. She's trying to stay awake. She knew she couldn't go to sleep, you know, or pass out or whatever was happening. And it was a lot of work to not do that. And then when she could raise her head just a little bit, she had to work really hard to open her eyes. And all she saw was Baba and Mehera, and they were dancing and they were kissing each other. And they were just, it was like total ecstasy. And the thing is, it was everywhere. And when she saw them kissing each other, she felt like, oh, she felt intrusive and trying not to look. But everywhere she looked, they were there. And she, when she was able to leave and walk, I think Jeff was helping her out, you know, because he saw something was going on. So you know, to take her out and walk, she didn't want to walk because Baba and Mehera were everywhere and she was stepping on them. I mean, it was like, and Mani was, this is really interesting too, because so that kind of got around, you know, that Deb Johnny had this spiritual experience. So Mani eventually, I think after she kind of recovered and could actually speak, Mani called her and quizzed her. Mani checked it out. It's like, okay, I hear you've had a spiritual experience, so tell me about it. And so she did, and Mani listened really carefully, and at the end she said, yes, you had a spiritual experience, you know. But I like that, you know. It was like the Grand Inquisition, you know. Is this real? And it was real. But you know, it's like, then I thought about it and it was like, oh, wait a minute. I was dancing with Baba between contractions when I had my son, you know? It's like, and he was 11 pounds, so apparently I needed a lot of help. I needed a break. But, you know, yeah, we were dancing in space and there were little stars all around, and and that's one of the times I had with Baba that I want to get the, you know, it's a thing that, you know, you have this feeling and you want to get it back because it gets kind of, it's been a lot of years. That's been 45 years ago. But still, you know, it's like each one of us has what's good for us and what we need. and she's there. She said, if you haven't, she said, if you can get here to meet me. But if you can't, I'll be there when you come. So she has her eyes on us. And yeah, and she had her eyes on my family in some really critical times. I wrote a letter, and we were having a crisis in our family. And in the middle of it, I wrote a letter. And I was in the middle of, while this happened, I was in the middle of writing a letter to Mehera. And then I thought, no, I can't send this to Mehera. I sent it to Meru. And then when I saw Meru, she says, I didn't get that letter. Mehera got it.
Mhm.
So see how she takes care of us. She's our mother, and she's really attentive. I have, what one was it? What one? Oh, the stained glass window I did is nearly perfect, but it's not perfect because there's a spot on Baba's chin it didn't grow hair. And I let somebody else, I was really nervous about it because I painted it and it had to be fired, and I had to transport it miles to get it to the kiln where it was going to be. So I was really nervous about it. And this woman took a brush and she messed with that part and tried to fill it in a little bit. And I knew that was a mistake. And so when Mara saw something, she, that wasn't right. And I knew it wasn't right. So there are a couple ways to take that. For a long time, it was like, well, yeah, I know I made a mistake. But then it took me years. It took till not too long ago for me to realize what she was actually telling me. And what she was saying was, have confidence in yourself. You don't give your work to somebody else. And that's what she was telling me. So, it could have happened many years ago, but and finally I got it. I'm a little hard-headed. But anyway, she's here for us, and she is the mother, and she knows what's going on, and she is always in that ecstasy she is so much. What's being revealed is that she and Baba are one, that she is God as well. And what I was remarking on yesterday and noticing is that Mara was like Baba in that Baba would say, who are you? What's your name? Tell me about yourself. Like he didn't know. And in a way he didn't, because in his human, he didn't and wanted to know. But as God, he knew everything. And Mara was the same way. It was like it was really nice to be near her. Sit next to her at tea and have just normal conversations. And nobody had a giggle like she had. Nobody. It's just this, like bells pealing. And she's just so, it was just a sweet, sweet giggle that she has, When she was entertained, it was like, it's really fun. And she made it easy, And anyway, I got off track with her giggle. So anyway, she's just amazing, and she's very present. So, and she'll help us, that's all she wants to do, is help us love Baba and be closer to him. But she was the same. It was like, because I've noticed in so many instances how she didn't know, but she did know at the same time. It was like miraculous. I felt like I had to get to me, she had to go around corners and down the street and around the block to get to me what she wanted to get me to have. But I finally got it because there were a few things, So anyway, I'll let somebody else say whatever they want to say.
Was that the stained glass in the blue bus you're talking about?
No, I did another stained glass window. Bradley and Hunter have it now.
Oh,
Yeah. It's one I did that went in Austin and Cindy Perlman's house. And when Austin had leukemia and he got sick and he went to Baba, and then his wife, that's a long story. That's my story. So I don't want to go into that. But yeah, no, it's another window. I hope it winds up at Myrtle Beach sometime. I think it will eventually in some years. So Jai Mehera Baba.
Hey, Mara Baba. You Mm. You know, in talking to yesterday, we did a little program with Arsenio Rodriguez, and he had a few memories to share, which was sweet. And it brought back one that I'd kind of forgotten. It was my little daughter Shireen, who was 7, and she was having a very tough time. She had she has was pulling her hair, and so she looked. It was very short, and she was little and thin, and um, I mean, she looked like she could have been a cancer patient. She wasn't, but so and Mara, of course, caught that right away, and she said, "What? You know, what's?" She wanted to know what was going on, and she said, "Oh, I just explained it was stress. It was family. Our family was going through a particularly stressful time, and my husband was sick. He came to India with a neck brace on. He had an accident at work, and." She said, "Oh," she said, "you must take special care." She just said, "Give her cream. Give her." She just, I'll never forget that. Give her cream. She said, "Give her, take care of this little one." She was just so attentive. And then, and when we got back, I sent them on a she uh for a time she was she had a full head of curly hair, and I sent the picture to them. I know Casey was particularly interested in her too. So, and that was a story I'd kind of forgotten about. I'm glad to have it woken up, that memory. Those memories are really important. Yeah. Mikal?
Yeah, Shaw Butler, who's here, and very beautiful, written very beautiful 2 lines about Mira today, and they're really so observing of how Mira was. So I don't want to read them out. If Shaw Butler would mind just reading them out to us, because they are so beautiful and so exact what Mira did for us and so in us. So is it okay?
Sure. Sorry, I was just reaching out to a young woman who just went through some stuff, and I came back on just in time, so it was great because I really had something to say to her from her heart.
Your voice
Perfect.
your voice is not so
I was
clear. Can you get closer
to
to
somebody who was really needing that, and then I got back here just in time. It was perfect. But she really received it, and that's so much. What's so important is to reach out in the moment, right? Because that's right where the love is right now. So, yeah, what came to me this morning was in Mara's heart, we saw the heart of God like no other. I'm sorry. In Mara's heart, we saw the heart of God like no other. And in her heart, we saw the part of God that was in each one of us. I think that was really conveyed this morning by Paula. And that was, that was, so I had one experience one time where when I first went to India, it was I think I arrived there in the very end of 1974, beginning of 1975. And when MRTT time came, just I saw I had seen Mehera several days before, and Monty had come to me and said, "Would you like to have tea with Mehera?" And I declined because there was just too much stuff, heavy stuff that I had taken on, and I didn't want to bring that to Mehera. But I so much wanted to connect with her. And so, sorry, I'm sorry, there's noise here. So anyway, 4 days later, when the MRTG was happening, at one point, Mehera came over in the crowd of 5,000 people near to where I was, and my heart said, "This is the time to connect with her." And as soon as I had that thought, I was off the hill, flying through the cosmos, following her. And I saw that she passed through everything. Nothing resisted her. And then it came to me, oh yeah, she's the purest soul in the universe. So being such, she's like nothing, and nothing passes through everything. And then I knew the fastest way to God. And when she passed, I was in England, I was in London, my mother was very sick, and I cried, and I had no idea that Mehera was passing at that moment, but that's what happened. So yeah, that's my story.
Shaw, Monty invited you to tea?
Well, let me see. Sorry, not she. Well, no, she invited me to come and meet Mehera. Sorry. Yeah. And yeah. So I guess it wasn't tea, it was just coming to meet her. Yeah.
That was
When I
his-
was at Mehera's, and I was waiting in her garden at the time. But yeah, before I went to India, I was driving as a taxi cab driver and just in the city, and just all kinds of stuff were coming in and out of my life. And I just didn't want to carry that to her. You know, of course we weren't supposed to touch her, and that's just what I felt. But yeah, I so much wanted to connect with her, and then I had that experience. That was perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shaw.
Yeah, thank you.
Gail.
Betty, I don't think you saw it. Uma from Hyderabad and now Dallas was trying to unmute. Are you able to unmute her?
I think I'm not. I tried to send a message. Welcome, Uma. Thank you for coming. I apparently it's not working. I did what I did with you, and it's not. It isn't working for her.
Uma, go back out and come back in. I had some problems hearing, which is why I left earlier. As I couldn't hear, and I could tell everybody else could hear. So go back out and come back in. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Gail. Oh, good. To the rescue. Did you have something you want to share, or you're just solving a problem? Thank you. Paula? Mm, where'd she go? Thanks.
Okay.
Ah.
So what happens is when we tell our stories is we can close our eyes and we can be there and we can go there. So that's what I would invite you to do, because this is my story, part of my story, but it was a really big part of when I was in India in 1986. So I think we all had that feeling. The first time I met Mehera, I was sitting on a bench, and Meru was across from me, and I had been communicating with Meru for quite a while, and she realized I was rooted to the bench. We all feel like, I mean, you feel her purity, you know, you felt it, and it was like you felt like you weren't that. and carrying all that. So that was perfect what Shah just said. anyway, toward the end of my visit in 1986, it was Amatithi time, and Amatithi was over. It was Entombment Day, and I didn't know what Entombment Day was. So somebody came and told me, it was like, you have to be there. And I was leaving like soon after. So that day, I mean, there's crowds there was still a runner. They still, Meredith did the running. She did that, passing the torch. So there was all that, and there's crowds and crowds and crowds of people. And then of course the women are around Mehera. So we're walking up the hill to the tomb, to the samadhi for Artie. And there's all these people. And Mehera kept stopping at the stalls because she knew people, and she was saying hello. You know, she was having conversations, asking them how they were, and she was just chatting with people. And Mani finally said, Mehera, come on, let's get going, you know. So anyway, my son was to my left, and where I found myself was right, there was one person between me and Mehera going up the hill to the samadhi. And I thought to myself, first I thought, who is this person? Move this person. That person was Mani. So when I realized that, it was like, oh, this is okay. So what I was doing was I was protecting Mani's feet, because there's thousands of people and everybody's jostling around. And so I needed to protect her feet. And when the crowd moved a little bit, it was Christian. And I said, Christian, watch her feet, you know, because you can really hurt somebody's ankle that way. But what I was thinking was, this is where I want to be. And I really consciously stepped in their footsteps going up the hill. It's like, this is where I want to be, Baba. This is where I want to be. I want to be here, and I want to walk in their footsteps. And then I'll make a longer story shorter, but when we were in the tomb, I was outside the tomb at first, and Cheryl Chapman said, you're leaving soon. You have to be in the tomb with the women. So she grabbed me and put me in the tomb. And then the women, you know, the women took darshan, and Mehera was right there. So, okay, so I'm in the tomb, I'm in the samadhi, and Mehera's right to my left when I'm about to put my head on Baba's feet. And I love her so much. And it's like, I just, you know, she's just like, well, anyway, that's indescribable. She's just, she's the mother that I always wanted to have and needed, even for my mother, you know. So anyway, she's right there. And I felt that. And I put flowers on Baba's samadhi for everybody else, but I consciously picked a rose and I put, Baba, this one's for me. So then after that, it was like, no, Mehera hadn't taken darshan yet. And so after that, when Mehera did, when she put her head on Baba's feet, thunder rolled.
Oh my.
I mean, it caught my breath. I couldn't breathe. It was like, it was thunder rolling, and it was like, I thought, my God, it's God bowing, it's God, it's the Lord bowing down to, it's love bowing down to love itself. And I thought, I'm in the presence of that love, and I don't know what it is.
Mm. Mm.
And there was thunder rolling, and it was a wind. I forgot, when I was up there, there was a wind that came up. It was a wind. It was like there was an energy. It was just whipping around the samadhi. And then it was the minute she put her head on Baba's feet, it just rolled. I don't know if anybody else heard it, to tell the truth. I don't think they did. Somebody said what, but it did. And I heard it. And it was like, I thought, oh my God, this is love bowing down to love itself. And I don't know what that is, but I'm in that, but I knew I was in the presence of it. I was in the presence of love, infinite love, bowing down to love itself. So that's where we are, you know? That's where we want to be. And Mara will help us. She'll help us. She just wants to get us to Baba, you know? It's kind of her job.
That's right. And to direct the energy to Baba. That's right. Remind us.
You know, yeah, I always knew that about the Blessed Mother. I was always devoted to the Blessed Mother, you know, in my life. And I know who she is now.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know who she is. So Baba gave me the Blessed Mother that I always look to, you know. So anyway, but it's, you know, it's disappointing when things aren't so fresh. That was a long time ago, but I just want to grab onto it again. You know, being with Mira was actually, she felt, when I was with her, she was light as a fairy. She was, you know, she was just like a, you know, like a young girl. She was just really light. There's nothing heavy. And it was, yeah, it was like, yeah, I had tea with her. I was funny. It was like, so to go in to have tea, I'm looking at the table and I thought, I was nervous. I was nervous, really nervous. Mara knew it. And so there's the table, and I didn't know what was what. And I didn't know that that was Baba's chair at the end. I thought maybe that was where Mara sat. So that's Baba's chair at the end of the table. And so there's one chair here and one here. Well, not knowing that, I thought, well, I'll take this chair because that chair is one away from Mara. I can handle that. Well, so I took that chair, but actually I was right next to Mara. So I poured her tea, you know, I mean, she noticed little things because there was a tea cozy on the teapot. And I don't know what to do with the tea cozy. And I was going to pour her tea. So I went to take it off and she said, no, don't take it off. You know, it stays on. But I jumped and it was like, I know she noticed that, you know, and somebody else said, no, it's okay. But it's the kind of thing where it's like, oh my God, I've done something horrible. The world's going to come to an end, you know, but I know, but she noticed things like that about you. And I noticed that about the women Mandali. They notice little things to pay attention. Katie did that. I didn't have nice clothes and stuff. So one time I was walking by her and she said, nice earrings. And I did. I had nice earrings and she liked them. Anyway, yeah. So that happened. Jay Mara Baba.
It's fresh to us, Paula. So thank you so much for sharing those stories.
Okay. I messed up again on my computer. I don't know if I'll ever get this down.
You want me to mute you?
No, well, wait a minute.
Or you can just be quiet. That works. Mikhail?
Yeah, so what I liked about what Shaw wrote was so perfect because it says, when we looked at Mira, we saw Baba in her, but when she looked at us, she saw Baba in us. She saw Baba in our heart. So I like that because that is exactly what she did. With her eyes, she was planting Baba in our hearts. She was moving things so she could see Baba in our hearts. And so that is so beautiful. I don't know if when he read that out, we all caught that, but when he read it out in the morning, Artie, it just, you know, it captured in the capsule exactly how how she was with us. When we were looking at her, we were seeing Baba. When she was looking at us, she actually saw Baba in us and was awakening that in us because she saw that, because her eyes saw that. And that is why it's so beautiful what you wrote, Shaw, because it was very perfect and very intuitive and inspirational and insightful. So thank you for that. That was very beautiful to hear it this morning.
Can I add to that in a moment? Yeah.
You are coming in and out somehow. You have something with
See, is I see ourselves witnessing that experience, and as we witness that experience of her seeing that part of ourselves that's Baba, we experience it.
yeah.
That's really, really profound. She takes
Yeah.
us to that level of what she's seeing. We see it for ourselves.
Yeah, that is why it was so, with 2 lines, you just nailed it. And it really reminded me of my experience with her, which was exactly so. And I think that what Debjani said yesterday was the same. And also what Mani used to say, and what Baba did for the Mandali. Because when they were grieving and in such when they were grieving and in such shock, and they were, can you imagine having Baba so close to you, every day, so many years and everything, and living, and suddenly, and he's not there, and how lost they must have felt and how shocked they were, because they didn't even think that he would ever die. He was totally finished, his body was finished, but they were overlooking that totally. I mean, he made them overlook that, so they won't realize that he's going to go. And so, because if they would know, they would not let him go. They would not. They would just not let him go. So someone has to just, disappear somehow, sneak out when it's time. So what happened was that he planned for all the young ones to come and to how do you call it, all over them, to come all over them, so that they won't have a breath, they won't have time even to think. So then they had all this April thing with all the young people coming, and that's exactly what they all said, that they were shocked by us because I wasn't there. Maybe I was there in spirit, I didn't know. They were shocked by all these young kids because they didn't see these kinds of people before. They came like from different stars, differently wearing, differently acting, differently than all the Indians that they used to meet. And suddenly all these people that never saw Baba in their life, coming millions of miles and paying so much money without having any money to get there. And so they were totally busy with all these young kids and trying to figure out what they're seeing. And Eric used to say exactly what you said, Shaw. He used to say they were looking for us to tell them about the humanity of Baba, and we were seeing Baba in their hearts, because they were seeing people were saying, oh, Baba said this to me, Baba came in my dream, Baba appeared in my picture. They never had these kinds of relationships with Baba. And I was wondering about Vesta Clinton, because she's the one who came to live there. And she was wild. She was a wild soul, completely wild. And they never saw anything like that.
But great.
And I think she just, took Mehera completely took her out of the grief. So Baba planned exactly who to send there. Not some very nice person, very sweet person, very quiet person. They had enough of that. That wouldn't take Mehera out of the grieving. They sent this wild American, and she really took Mehera out of it. So Clint Wester writes was very, very how do you call it? Very, very talented writer. So she writes these very beautiful, beautiful two stories that I was just, you know, taken by them. I could just dive into them and you could be there with her. So one of them is, oh, Paula, yeah, you were so much close to her at the end of her life. And so one of them is that there is, she is with Mehera and there's a sudden storm. There's a sudden storm in Merazad, and it's blowing and raining and really something. And I think it is a bird. Is it a bird? Got stuck on some where green were climbing over some fence, and she and Mary were out there in this pouring rain. They got soaked wet, trying to save that bird out of that trap that she was caught in the middle of this wind and rain and everything. And Mehera was laughing her head off. And they came back all soaked wet into the house. And the slippers, she's giving all these details, the clothes and the wetness and the storm and the wind. And you can see Mehera, she's in the middle of her most horrible grieving, and she is just forgetting everything and laughing and getting herself soaked in this. So another story that she's telling about Mehera, which just, you know, what a gem. So she gets to sleep in the house of the ladies, in the ladies' room. So she's sleeping on the floor with something, I don't know, knapsack or something, on the floor where the not the dining hall, but the salon, where they sitting room, right? So when you go from the terrace inside, right on the right side, there's this inlet of a room, right? It's like an inlet. It doesn't have a door. It's an inlet on the right. And that's where Baba has a gadi, and he used to sit there, and it used to be chained, so you can't go in there. And a small table and some sofas. So she was sleeping there. Okay. Now, she went to sleep. Now, and right on the left side, we would see Goher's bed, right? We would see Goher's bed right at the door entrance to Baba's room, because she would sleep so close to him. So if he would need her, then she could jump in. And she was the only one, she and Mani were the only one that could be with Baba while men were. While men were there, the men didn't have to go out. So if there was any kind of emergency during the night with the night watch, he could call her and she would come in. There would be no problem. Okay, so that's why she slept so close to that place. And so she's sleeping there on the floor with Vesta, and then everyone is sleeping. Everyone went to sleep because everyone is going to sleep very early in Meherabad, because they wake up with the birds. And Baba used to wake up very early, so they get probably used to sleeping very early and getting up very early. So she is on the floor, and suddenly she sees Mehera. And she sees Mehera. Everyone is sleeping. So she also thinks that Vesta is sleeping. So she sees Mehera going from one picture to Baba to another. And she's talking to Baba, and she's kissing him, and she's telling him that she's going to cut his nails next morning, because it's time to cut the nails. And then she goes to another picture, and she goes from picture to picture. And she talks to Baba, and she kisses him, and she tells him all these details, just living with him every day. And then she would go, I don't know if that is in that story or in another story that I heard. She goes into his room, and there she sits with him, and she talks. I mean, you know, she closed the door so no one knows, but she's talking to him. She doesn't go to sleep. And yesterday there was some quote that was given by someone, and I don't remember what, and it said something like this. Please forgive me, Baba is telling Mehera, please forgive me that I so love looking. I'm not saying it exactly in the same words, okay? Please forgive me that I can't stop looking deeply into your beautiful eyes. So you cannot, so you cannot go to sleep, because she has to have her eyes open all the time. And actually that is what happened. When everyone used to go to sleep, Mehera used to go to talk to Baba. And that's the quiet time that she had with him. And that is so beautiful. So these stories, is that in my garden, some cat is having some courtship. So, so that is so, so beautiful. And I know these stories are in Facebook, and maybe Paula knows where else it can be sourced out, because they are so beautiful. So I was just having this, yeah.
Sorry, I have
Yeah.
that. I copied it.
Oh, good. So can you just send it maybe to anyone who asks? Yeah, I would certainly want to read it again. And so, so this is what I can see, you know, that what Shore wrote, you know, we were looking at her and them, seeing Baba through them, but they were looking at us and seeing Baba in our hearts that we brought and to him. And that's how they gave us the feeling that we are also having Baba in our hearts. So I want to tell one small story of mine, which is which also came up this morning, and it was very special. So, is it disturbing, the cat? Is it disturbing? Shall I tell it another time, Betty?
Who knows how long they'll go on?
Okay, so this story goes like this. Betty told this morning that Rodriguez, his name is Rodriguez,
Yeah.
Daniel Rodriguez. I don't know him. So he got from Facebook a memory. They sent memories. So he got a Facebook memory from 15 years ago where his mother has a picture with Mehera and a poem that she wrote. And in that poem, she writes that Mehera is like a white rose. So she writes some other things about it, but she writes that Mehera was a white rose. So this gives me the shivers, because this is my story with Mehera. So how does it go? Another thing that, am I too long? Should I cut it short and tell after?
Go ahead now. You're going to tell
Okay.
your.
So, okay. So, Debjani was talking yesterday of how Mehera was intuitive and always knew what was in her mind. And that's the way she knew that Mehera was godly. So I'm in Meherazad, and I get this feeling that Mehera wants a rose. And at that time, there was a huge, huge rose garden, not where we are used to seeing Mehera's garden, but where the buses are parking now. There used to be a huge, huge, big, long and wide rose garden. Right at the end of it, you could see Seclusion Hill, and it's not there anymore. And it's on. If we're looking at Meherazad, coming into Meherazad, then it was on the right, where the buses beyond all the little houses, the buses now are parking. There's a special parking place for them now. So I went into that rose garden and was looking for a rose, and I didn't know what rose to pick up. So I was looking from bush to bush, from bush to bush. And suddenly I saw this very beautiful white rose. So I decided to pick this one up. I picked it, and I was shy to get to go to Mehera and to give her a rose. I was shy to come up to her and give her a rose. So what I did is I went around the house to the windows. They have two windows in the women in Mehera and Mani's room. One is where the tree was, yeah, and the other one is on the back looking on Mehera's Hill, looking on Seclusion Hill. So I went there outside and put it on the windowsill. So, you know, they have a window, and I think they also have a screen. I'm not sure at the window. I'm not sure if they have a screen or not, but they have a window and it was closed. And I put it there and I went. For me, I said, you know, I gave it to Mehera. I picked it up for Mehera. I gave it to Mehera, and that's it. I don't remember where I was. And someone came and said, Mehera is saying, thank you very much for the rose. So, you know, the window was closed. No one came to me and said, you know, Mehera is asking for a rose. It came in my heart. And I went and I picked that rose, and because I was shy, I didn't give it to her. I gave it to her on the window, and she knew that it was there. And so she sent someone to tell me thank you for the rose, and for the rose. So I know that it is especially for this gift that she was acknowledging. And I don't know why. I know why I picked a white rose. I picked a white rose because it was, you know, I met Mehera in 1988, and another time in 1989 or 88 at the end. No, 88, yeah. One time at 88 at the beginning, one time at 88 close to her birthday, and then another time in 89. The 3 visits I saw her, and I knew she was missing Baba. So when I picked a white rose, I sort of thought that I would wish for her to go to Baba. I was wished for her to join Baba. And that is why I picked a white rose. But now that this lady wrote in her poem that Mehera is a white rose, then I have to look into it again and see why Mehera is a white rose. So in both things, that was my wish for her. Yeah.
She also knew who gave it to her.
Yeah, she sent someone to me to say thank you. She didn't just announce it or someone announced it. She sent someone to me to say thank you for the rose.
They
And
did things like that. It's like, oh, how did you know? How did she know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's
She
like
was
they
totally.
saw everything. Sometimes I wonder if they had binoculars up on the
No,
hill,
he
'cause
was God, you know, because that's what Debjani said. Debjani said she knew her thoughts. And if you read Baba's stories, then people know that Baba is God because he knows their thought. Like the story of Don Stevens, when he met Baba and he checked him out and he did this sign, and Baba turned to him and did this sign. He said, no, okay, that's, I want to see this again. I want to see if it's, and then he did it again and he did that again. And then when he went to the lift, he went to the how do you call it? The thing that goes up and down the house. And that Baba was with his back to him and he was sitting in a wheelchair and he did that behind his back. And Baba turned around, twisted his back and did this sign. So this is the way that they check that one is God, because God knows everything. He knows your thoughts. So Mehera knew my thoughts. She was God. She was God.
Yeah, another thing that Johnny said, if I can do this, because I didn't put my hand up.
Thank you very much, and Jay Baba and Jay Mehera. Thank you, Mehera.
No, the other thing that Deb Johnny was talking about was if she was thinking about Baba, Mehera would would immediately see her and pay attention to her. If she wasn't thinking about Baba, it was like Mehera didn't see her at all. So when we think about Baba, Mehera's there. If we're
Yeah,
not
but
thinking
yeah,
about
but she's
Baba,
yeah, but she's proving
she's
that she can
yeah.
see the words. She can hear. She can see your thoughts. She can actually know what you're thinking.
Mhm.
But she didn't want to. She didn't want to. She didn't even. You know, she wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone.
She didn't
No.
make, we weren't on, after I got over the beginning feeling that I was in the presence of the Queen of Queens, was that she made it comfortable. She made it natural. It was just natural. When I left, she just, you know, I was having a picture taken with Meru, and Meru came up, and I mean, she gave me something really special in that moment, but she came up and she said, "Oh, can I be in the picture too?" And it's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. 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 She gave me some special gifts.
Oh, beautiful.
She
That's
knows,
so
she
beautiful.
knows how to pay attention to each one of us. And yeah, it's like all the Mandali were like that. They paid attention. And then, you know what though? I mean, their focus was always on Baba. And when they paid attention to you, there was no attachment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's no, it's really interesting. It's like, I mean, because if I would attach to anybody, it would be Meru and Mehera. But there's not anything, I mean, it's different than attachments that we have with each other that can get sticky. It's not sticky because it's rooted in Baba. It's all about Baba. And that's like, and I was reading about relationships, and this kind of fits in because it's like Baba taught them how to be close but not too close, and far away but not too far away. Too close but not too close, and not too far away but far away. You know, it's like there's a balance there, that's safety in relationships. And they were just, well, they were safe. That's what I found. I found that with Erich and Meru and you know, they were safe. And you know, my son was 10 years old when we went to India, and yeah, he was about to turn 11. And one thing he said when we came home, he said, first he said, I would Baba be mad at me because I didn't really know that believe he was God at first or something? I said, no, he's not mad at you. And then he said, the Mandali would never ever cheat you, and they would never ever lie to you. And that was his experience of the Mandali.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And when we got there, we were like, I mean, here's my kid, and he was tall. So Mehera didn't know that he was just 11, so he got to have tea with her. And I mean, he was a special kid. He was a handful, and he was a special kid. But anyway, when we first got there, and we were in Pune, and we were taking a bus, Mehera Ji got on the bus with us. And you know, sometimes when the Mandali do something, it's really clear that it's Baba doing it through them, because he whacked my kid on the back.
Yeah.
He just whacked him on the back, and it was like, I knew that was Baba whacking my kid on the back, because that was the way he was with men. You know, that was male energy, and that was the way Baba was with the men, you know. So that was funny. Yeah.
Now, I know there are others here who have met Mehera and wondering if you got anything to share. I don't know about Zoom user. Rosalie, I know you.
Rosie, you usually tell your stories. Yeah.
And Ellen. Am I missing anybody?
Barbara, did you meet Mehera? So say something. Tell us something.
Several times, you know, and I had tea. But I was very I know this is true of a lot of people, that they were very nervous and shy, and I just didn't get past that really until after Mara passed. And I feel like I have had more contact with her at Samadhi, despite the fact that she's gone, so every time I went to India, I would go, to Mehera and then to Baba, and sometimes I'd try to bring a flower from Mehera to Baba. But I just think of her as, when I bow down, and some people say you shouldn't bow down, but I just do it for the contact. And I think of her as queen of the natural universe, like the stars and the little animals, and that's how I see her. And but at the time I was very shuttered off. She asked me to sing at tea once, and I thought I can't do that. So I asked the little girls who were there to sing. But I think, that I had that same feeling that it was a faux pas. And then the thing with the tea and the cozy, I didn't know what to do with the tea cozy either. And then somebody wanted me to pour, and I didn't pour, and then Mara poured, and everything was so magnified, right? But it's all okay. Everything is as it should be. But I feel very, very, very lucky for just the exposure, because who knows, right? Yeah. So
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Helen, did you have any? You're muted.
I do have one story I could share. It might wind up being a little long to have context. I came to Baba in 68, and I came to the community in 72, and then I had to wait another 15 years to go to India. So I got finally to go in 87, and got a little time, got some time, at that, for what was being given at that time, I was only there 2 weeks between Christmas and Amartiti, and I got what was relatively generous time with Mehera. But my husband had been jealous of Baba and really wished I would just stop following Baba and be a Buddhist with him. And but when I was getting ready to go to India, somehow he had a friend in the Buddhist community who was a therapist who said, no, you have to support your wife in going because she supports you in your practice. And he did. But he was at that time making Buddhist images. And he made a small silver Kuan Yin for Mehera.
Oh, wow.
And as I was getting ready to go, he was polishing and polishing and polishing this silver Kuan Yin. And he gave it to me. And he said, this is for Mehera. And you have to tell her. And he made me memorize exactly what he wanted to tell me to tell her, that this is an image of Kuan Yin, which is the feminine aspect of Avalokitesvara. And Avalokitesvara is the compassionate aspect of the Buddha.
Wow.
And I had to tell her in those words exactly when I gave it to her. So the first time that I went to tea with Mehera, we were sitting at tea, and I don't remember how it got led into, but I gave it to her and I told her that, and she accepted it and said, put it up on the cabinet there. And that was that.
Wow.
So, and then I had some time with her in the garden, just the two of us, but which I don't share, that's personal. But the last time, I think it was close to the last time I was on the porch with Meru, probably the year she died. It was the very end of the season, and any pilgrims that were there were in the Mandali Hall. And so it was Meru and Janet and Casey and myself, and there may have been one other person there. And Casey was looking around for stories to entertain Meru, you know, and that was the point. So she asked me to tell a story of the Kuan Yin. So I did. And when I got done, Casey said, "Oh yes, and we looked for it, and we don't know. It must have been passed on. Mehera must have given it to someone." And Janet said, "No, wait." And she went inside, and she went into Mehera's cabinet and brought out the Kuan Yin that Jack had given her. So she had kept that Kuan Yin in the cabinet. And it just made me think that, you know, because there were many levels, but on one level, it was Mehera appreciating being recognized by someone she never met, and didn't, so forth and so on, as being one with Baba in that sense. And it was just very, very sweet.
That brought tears to my eyes. I don't know why, but it brought tears
Yeah.
to my.
It was very, very sweet. And then Casey said to me, "We'll see if she puts it back or gives it to you." And that's what me. And she put it back. Mary said, "Put it back in the cabinet," And then I think one of the last 2 times I was there, Casey took me in and showed it to me in the cabinet.
That's so touching.
In Mara's room, Mara and Mani's bedroom, is that where it
In
is?
Ronnie's bedroom, yeah, the cabinet where she had the cabinet with her clothes, I can't think of the Indian name for it, the metal cabinets. And that cabinet was just filled with images of Baba and other little things. There were, like some of the places that Baba, and then there would be little figures of animals and things too, as well, the things that she felt were precious to Baba.
That is such a beautiful story.
Very
Yeah.
lovely.
Beautiful.
I remembered one more little thing, and again, I was sitting across from Mara, and again, I was just a bundle of. I wanted to disappear and go away, but I was looking at her, and I was trying to look at her. I couldn't, but I was looking into her eyes, and I was probably looking too much into, like, staring or something. But I looked into her eyes, and her pupils were golden. They were full of light, golden light.
Oh, beautiful.
And I just was, because I guess that's what was inside her, was really just Baba.
The way you describe her, and before too, it's like a magical fairyland, So it's also so fitting to you and your nature, and just seeing Mara like that. And I can see Mara like that. So golden eyes. Wow.
There was another sweet moment, not that first tea, but another tea that I had while I was there with her, when she sat and told about songs that they had sung on New Life Blue Bus tours and things, and she would sing little snatches. There was this song, and there was that song, and you could feel her being with Baba in the moment when they had sung those songs for Baba. That thing that she does where she remembers, and that she's there. She's not with you anymore. She's in that moment.
And she brings you with her. She brings us. Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He lives it again. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so precious, whatever we went through, and even if little, then it comes up now in the story, and just, it's just like sparkles and touching little vignettes of our. So beautiful.
Shaw wrote a comment to Ellen. I don't know if you saw it, Ellen.
No, I didn't.
Mara recognized the truth of your husband's words is what came to my heart, Ellen. He wrote. I don't know if he's here. There he is.
Yeah, still, yeah. Thank you, Shaw.
Tell me again what your son said, Paula, that the Mandali would never lie to us or cheat us?
Yeah.
Well,
He
he-
said that was what he felt. He said, and he was 11 years old, and we had just moved, and we were in an interesting neighborhood. So it was like it meant something. They would never ever lie to. They would never ever lie to us, and they would never cheat us.
it's true, and it's really thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. And if they gave their opinion, they were, finally I got to looking at the mandali, like it's like Baba had a garden and he had all these different flowers in his garden. And every flower was exactly what it needed to be. And every flower was different from every other flower. And Baba nurtured every flower just to be exactly who they were. And that's the way it is for us now. It's like he just wants us to be who we are and have our relationship with him, our relationship with Mehera, And then when we share it, it's like we can go different places with them, but we have our own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're entitled to that, we're entitled to it.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah. And they're not gone. That's the trick.
they're not what?
They're not gone. They're right here.
Not gone, right,
with
not
us
gone.
now. And that's what, it's like what Deb Johnny experienced. That's happening now, but we don't see it or feel it. But that's exactly what's true. They are, that joy is everywhere. And it's like, I'm like, where is it, Baba? I know it's right here, but how do I get to you, And how do I remember you in the present moment? How do I live this? How do I've never known what to do. He knows it. So, I don't know. But he's not gone. And it's just, I just like trying to find him everywhere in everyone. And it's true when you look in somebody else's eyes, it's Baba looking into his own eyes in someone else, and he's looking back at us in someone else, seeing as he's all there is.
Yeah, I always envision them somewhere, for me they're totally alive. All of them all totally alive, and that's why I want to go there, Some people say, oh, Mehrabad is my home and everything. I never felt that in Mehrabad, but I have heard many people coming to Mehrabad and saying, wow, this is my home. This is my true home. And I was wondering, why don't I feel that? And so yesterday, because Debjani was talking about that, that was her strong feeling that Mehrabad was her home. And that's why she was so adamant to come back. And that's why she is there. And I never, I never felt it was my home. So I was thinking about it yesterday and saying, yeah, Israel is not my home either. And I never had a home. I mean, my house here, my apartment here, or there, or wherever I was, he is always with me. So it's his home too. But this is an apartment. It's not my home. It's not my heart home. So where is my heart home? My heart home is where he is now, and where they are now, and what I envision always, like in today, when we are all here, that they are up in the gallery, so I envision all these clouds, and they are moving the clouds and looking over and, peeking down at us and, seeing this one talk, that one talk. Yeah, look at that picture. And so that's how I see it. I see them all in that place. And I asked Baba, can I go there? I don't have that high soul like Mehera, Mani, Eroj, Bauji. I don't have that, big pure soul but I really want to be there. That's where I want to be. So I said, maybe you have in the courtyard some little house there, that I can come to that courtyard and live there maybe. And so that is where I feel my home. My home is there.
Yeah, Michal, that's what imagination's for. That's why Baba gave us an imagination. You can go there. We can go there. We can create that. We can go there.
Yeah, I believe so.
And when I was in India and I was gonna leave, I was leaving and I was at Marizad and I told Mehera, I had just come out of Mehera's bedroom and I said, you know, I want to go home, but I don't ever want to leave here. And she said, well, that's your home, but this is your home.
Uh-huh.
This is
Yeah.
your home. And
No,
I
I
feel that. I feel that. Baba's my father and my father's house is my home.
yeah, he told me, you know, because I never felt comfortable in Meherabad. In Meherabad, yes. My heart was in Meherabad, always the Samadhi hill.
Oh, I
Samadhi.
always wanted to come in through the kitchen.
So he told me one time, not long ago, he said, Meherabad is your home. But I'm sorry, Baba, but because I felt very good about that. But he says, you know, though you didn't feel comfortable there, and I did feel comfortable in Baba's hill, in Baba's Samadhi hill, all over the hill, because it's a magical, magical hill. So he said to me, you know, that is your home because it's my home and you are with me and that is your home. So I thank him for that. But I don't really feel totally comfortable there to say that this is my home, even in my imagination when I go there, and I go there a lot. Every day when I pray in my arti, I go to Mirabad and I go to Marsa. So
I wonder if we actually need.
Betty wants to talk. She has her hand up.
Well, we have Zoom user who I think is Uma, who can now unmute.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah. Is
Hello.
it Jay Baba?
Jai Baba, Jai Baba to everyone. Can you see me?
We see you.
Hear you. Yeah, wonderful.
A long time, Betty. I keep seeing you only in the Zoom recordings.
Yeah, I know. I live there.
Back to my son. And we've almost forgotten the Zoom because we were almost on Skype every day. So many meetings happening after Corona. And then people have struggled to set back to Zoom now. So that's how I've also installed once again on my iPad, and that's why I'm able to unmute.
Wonderful.
Well, there was some problem, so back to
And
Zoom again.
are you Uma? Is that right?
Pardon?
Your name?
Uma Rani.
Okay. And where are you from?
Dallas. My son is in Dallas. But he's
Oh.
from Hyderabad.
Uh-huh.
They are, here on a short holiday. So I said, as long as I'm here, let me stick on to these timings. So that's why I was browsing through the calendar.
Oh, great.
And suddenly I remembered that it's Mehera's anniversary today. So I said, I'd say hello to you all.
Wonderful.
And a number of Skype calls we were attending to, unending. And
Mhm.
people are all now struggling to come back to Zoom. And they did. Since Skype is no more, they did.
Right.
Well, as my memory goes, 81, in 71 or 72, first we met Mehera and Mani. That was our first trip to the Samadhi, to Ahmednagar. My father was in railways and he happened to be posted all the way from Secunderabad to Kurudwadi. Don't know what, how he got transferred in those days. Railways were all railways were together. Like there was no division like South Central Railway, Eastern Railway, Western Railway. So all the way from south, he had been transferred to Kurudwadi. As soon as we came to know about Meher Baba, within a span of 2 years, he got transferred there. And
Ah,
heard of somebody saw his postcard on his work table, Meher Baba's postcard, and they directed him to Balnadu. That's what has happened, and he got very close to Balnadu, and Balnadu directed us to go to Meherabad immediately. So he went first for one of the Amatidis. I think it was the second or third Amatidi he had been to, and he missed the family. So that's how he took us there to Meherabad on one of the celebrations was going on in Ahmednagar Center, Baba's birthday celebrations. So February 26th, we happened to be there. After that, we went in Tonga, the horse-drawn carriage to Meherabad. And we met Nanikar over there, did our prayers and a few songs in mid-afternoon. From there, we had the next trip, we had been to Merazad. I think it was open and we went there, and the love that poured in from Mehera and Mani, was enough for us to get into the fold. And Mehera, her eyes and her loving, her affection that she has shown. And we did say that if these people are so loving, how Meher Baba must have been. And there was no second thought. He was immediately transferred to Andhra, where he had to identify the pensioners, he being in the accounts department, identifying all the pensioners physically. So that's how he got a chance to visit all the centers. Wherever he went, he would finish his job in the morning, evening he would go visiting the centers. And from then onwards, from 81 onwards, we have been going somewhere in October throughout our holidays. We would spend there, cook there. There was no D hostel. There were no other hostels then. We were there in Dharmashala cooking and visiting all the places in Merazad. Whenever there was a possibility, we would go to Merazad and spend some time. Evening tea, it was 6 by the time we used to leave. In those days, 5:30, we would leave Merazad. And that was our memory. Once, I'll just take 2 minutes time. Once when she asked me my son's name, I said Bharat, and that time we were there before lunch. I don't know how it happened, but before lunch. And she went on and on and on and on with Mahabharat stories. People there around said, why did you remind Mehra about Bharat? And she will go on with Mahabharat. And she did, which she did. And she had to be reminded about the time and all that. Oh, we had lovely time with her. And every time we went there, we would have tea with them. And especially, I would run to Mehra. I would run to Erich and Mani. And when it was tea time, we would run to Mehra. That's my memory. Never missed a chance. And by the way, I forgot to tell you that the first Amar Tithi that we attended was the second or third, I don't, as I told you. And I've actually seen her dancing.
Oh,
Oh,
She did dance.
oh, beautiful.
During the Amar Tithis, she did dance. Mehra and Mani, both of them danced. And Mehra, of course, sobbing when we were all leaving. She would sob and sob and sob and sob, and tears would roll her eyes, and that was beautiful to see both dancing as well as sobbing her friend. That love that poured in from her heart, I'll never forget. That these are my memories about Mehra.
That's beautiful. Very beautiful. Precious.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. I'm very happy to see you again after so long.
yeah. Yes. Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad you really tried hard to. I'm glad you were.
Now that the device is changed, there should be no problem.
Yeah. Do you come to Dallas often?
Every year, yes. Every year. My elder son is here in Dallas. We do come every year.
How fortunate you could go to see Mara every yearly. Would you go often to
Yeah,
Mara?
every year, every year. I fought with my father because only Vijayawada people used to go. You must have heard of Vijayawada, the name. And there are stalwarts like Raghavulu and a lot of people there. Who arranged for the train that moved from Meherabad to Vijayawada. And they were very, very close to Baba. And Those
you-
people used to go. Those people used to go during Dasara every year. I said, I fought with my father. Why should only they go? Why can't we also make a trip other than Amartidi? So that's how we started our trips. And it continues even now. I miss Dasara. I don't go during Dasara because there's a lot of rush. Silence Day, there's a lot of rush. So other than that, we go spend the days there.
quiet time.
Quiet time, I know.
And
But we'll be going for Silence Day now, expecting a big crowd. We've all
Right.
booked our tickets. So we'll be going for Silence Day.
what is
That's
the
so
name of your town again?
Hyderabad,
Oh, Hyderabad. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
they
Like
have a
Coco.
lot of activities too.
Wow. You must know then Sally and Prakash Dharam. Are they
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, they'll be going in July, I heard.
Yeah. To Mehrabad.
Yeah, I've seen their house from outside. Gopi, a big township has come up there. It's never deserted. Mehrabad is full of people now.
I'm sure it's changed.
Yeah.
A lot of us has been a long time since we've been there. So yeah.
So you'll be surprised to see a township called Brindavan.
As Baba said, it would.
Brinda.
Yeah.
Brindavan. Yeah.
Well, we've come about the time we said. Any other last minute stories or?
So much, Betty and others all. Jai Baba to all.
Thank you. Thank you for your shares.
I could quickly tell. I tell a story every time, and those who know me know the story, but I'll tell it anyway. I too had a 10-year-old son who came, uh, Gary. He, and when I introduced our family to Mara, he actually at the time was a foster son. He was not my husband's he was related he was a half brother to my husband's kids. And this is my big story. I tell it every time. When I introduced him to Mara, she said, so who is this? And I said, he's my stepson. I figured she wouldn't know about foster children. So I said, stepson. And she really right away said, no, you must not say it that way. He's your son. And then she turned to Gary and said, so Gary, who is this? And he was 10 years old and kind of spaced out. He said, oh, that's my mom. And she really, then she looked at me and said, so that relationship has been always very special. He's
It's
now,
precious,
yeah,
precious story. Important one to repeat.
it's lovely. Mhm. And
Thank
he
you.
knows it's the significance. Yeah. So
Significance is to everyone, who are not, who are foster children or adopted children, and to hear that story. And if they get to this video, and they will hear that story, it's important.
it's true.
Yeah. So
Oh,
thank you for sharing it.
we're blessed to raise a child, then that child is ours.
Right.
Betty, you said you had another story?
I did. It's it's where I didn't do so well. My kids, we were there for 6 weeks. My kids were getting tired of being in India and wanted to go home, and it was the day the women came to Samadhi, and I I knew I should have tried harder to get the kids to go, but they didn't want to go. They and so so I didn't try hard enough, I guess, to get them up there, even though it was a special day. I knew it, but um and and um there was another little girl who was a friend, Margie Dowling, who uh daughter of Gusi, and the daughter of the Dowlings. Anyway, she and my daughter Shireen had become kind of friends. So when I got there, Margie was there, and she had a little doll that Mara had given her, and Mara had given my daughter Shireen also a doll, and I think that they had wanted both girls to be there, but they weren't. And so, make a story short, the next day when it was getting very close to time to leave, Mara asked, "So where was Shireen?" And I didn't have an answer. And she kind of filled in. She said, "Oh, maybe she was having a bath. That wasn't a good time for a bath." She, 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 she made the point that in that instance, I should have tried harder to get my kids there. But that's, that's, it doesn't always work out well. But it's stayed with me that there are times when I should.
Well, Betty, I think you made up for it since. It's such a,
I don't know
you
about
treat everybody like family. Everybody's more comfortable, you know, wouldn't carry that.
Well, see, my kids
They're
are not
just-
Baba lovers. They know, I would say they're Baba likers. They know. I think that this is special, but everybody has their own time and they don't have that alarm. That alarm hasn't gone off yet for even Gary, my dear Gary. So,
The connection's still there.
yeah, you're right. You're right, Shaw. It is definitely, yeah. Marcia, you have something to say? Marcia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a laptop and I'm not used to the cursor. I'm touching the screen like an iPad. I did not meet Mira in person, but I spent a lot of time in the guest house and sometimes alone in her room. And recently I've, just been
Sorry,
was
can we see your
painting
face,
her.
please? Can we
What?
see your face? Your
Yeah,
face.
I was hiding.
Thank you, because you're going to be filmed now, so you were here,
Yeah, well, okay. I'm only doing this because they said it's for posterity, so. But when I started painting pictures of her, I felt really close. And then recently I've gotten some photos and she's become, I was staying in the Hermitage and I had a picture of Baba and Mira next to each other and I felt that they were one, at that point, like Mehera Baba. And then recently I've just been looking at her picture all the time and I was reading her book and listening to her and I feel like she's there all the time. She's very important now. Yeah. I mean, Baba's important, but Mira's right next to Baba. Anyway, that's all. Yeah.
Thank you.
That just comes to show that for all those people who did not meet Mara, that Mara is meetable. Mara and Baba are meetable and they're alive. And yeah, of course, you can have a relationship with them that's just as important and just as deep and just as beautiful. Because just think, every one of us who is here, none of us met Baba. But look what kind of strong relationship, an
Yeah.
intimate relationship, and real relationship that each one of us has. And no one here can put a finger up and say, no, I met Baba personally in this life. We didn't. Look how meaningful our relationship with Baba is. So why not have the same kind of relationship if you have an affinity to Mera or affinity to Mani or affinity to Eruch? And I know people who never met Eruch and said, well, I have this affinity to Eruch, and someone who didn't meet that one or this one. So people should know that they are there to be had a relationship with. They're alive, the souls are alive, the presence is alive, and they can have a very special and meaningful relationship with each one of us.
That's why it's so important that Baba had so many photographs, so many pictures of him, and every time now I have a picture, I have to include Mira on the right and Mani on the left.
Right.
And then now
Right.
I've been including all the ashram boys' pictures. And it's like turning into a picture factory. And the more you look at them and empty yourself of other things, then you really truly when you're more silent, turn off your phone, you really feel closer to your inner intuition. I know Rosalie's always talking about intuition and your inner voice, and Baba's in all of us all the time, everything. I don't know how he does it, but everything to the last hanger, the last stamp, the last everything, coincidences. He's always throwing these things in that say, whoa, I couldn't be making a mistake on this one. No way. Especially the gate where I was staying, it was a gated community. And this last month they changed it to my birth year, 1946. I said, I won't forget that, right? He's so funny. And he doesn't, it's like, I feel like he doesn't want us to worry, which is really pretty hard, right? Because he says, if you worry, then I'm not going to worry for you. So I said, okay, you take it over, because I want you to worry and I don't want to worry. And so if we worry, we make his load heavier. So he wants us, no matter whatever situation we're in, to just trust him and have faith in him. And as Mehera said, love him. That's all. Just love Baba. I mean, how can you not love him? He's got a gazillion faces, right? It's like, wow, amazing God, Yeah.
Amazing God, amazing God. But we have to remember that we got connected to him even before we saw pictures, no? Before I saw a picture of him, I was already, he already fished me, I didn't know that, but he fished me already.
Oh boy. I
Yeah.
was thinking that so many things, but I was thinking that back at the time and when I first went out to Meherabad and I first came to Baba, it all happened really close together in the early 80s. And things seemed harder then, and they also seemed way more important. Everything had this big meaning and the huge consequences. That was my sense of things. But over time and all these visits to Samadhi, and I did experience even then that if I were to, for even a second, put Erich or any of them on a pedestal, and it goes for Baba too. If you look at Baba as being high or any of the mandali, that you would miss the most important intimacy, that chance of being on their level and having this intimate exchange. And I was thinking about how other women said they were nervous around Mehera, and then they ended up being really, really close. And I just think that maybe one day when I'm a little further on in the queue, I'll be able to have that experience too with Mehera, where I get over being nervous and I can be really, really close. But for now, I feel close. I feel like she's there, especially when I'm in India. But anyway, that's all I want.
So I think that counts, that now we are not, what I figured that why was this thing that was made me so shy. Well, I can be shy, but that most of the time I also have this other side that is not shy together. So I was very shy, and I always kept on the side when I was Mehera, and and then I put the flower in the back window. I didn't give it to her, And when I was sitting in tea, I was sitting on the other side of the table, far away, and just watching everything. But so I figured, we have, each of us, we know that we have this bubble of energy around us, the aura, right? And so it has this certain size, but they had a huge energy bubble around them. They had a huge light energy force, and I think that is what made us shy to enter, because I didn't come up to Mehera and someone just pushed me on her. I almost fell over her because I was all the time on the side, and I guess that she told someone, this girl is not coming up to me. Please make her introduce herself to me. So then it was actually Jal's wife. So she, one day, she just pushed me and I almost fell over Mehera, and that's when I made this acquaintance, but then I went back to the edge of the terrace and to the edge of the tea table and everything. So I think
Dolly. Dolly?
Dolly. So I think that that was the thing with these people, why we made us shy, because we were feeling this aura, this strong energy and light that was emanating from them. And we were not used to that in other people. We could approach people closer.
I
Yeah,
bet Mara understood shy, though. I bet she understood it.
yeah, she understood
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but does anyone think that what I said makes any sense to them?
Yo, absolutely. Absolutely. Huge.
Okay.
Big
Okay.
around
So
them.
I think that that also made us overwhelmed because, you know, if I come closer to anyone that I know in this lifetime, their energy field is a certain thing that we're used to coming close to. We don't go on top of people, you know, we don't come like that to people, but we come at a certain distance, which we feel comfortable, where our energy and their energy can be close to each other. But theirs were huge, huge, you know, like that. So I think that is what also kept everyone a bit shy, you know.
I think
This,
for
yeah,
me, as a woman, she was so pure.
oh,
And I couldn't have felt less pure. And I think that's part of what happened to me. And I related better with Erich and Mani, you know, but I think that was part of it. She was just so pure, and I thought I'm like,
yeah. Paula is touching herself.
Yes.
Paula, speak.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You have
Rooted
to-
to the bench.
Mhm.
Meru had to drag me off the bench.
Mhm.
But then I got to sit next to Mara, and I think about my arm sometimes because she had her hand on my arm.
Oh,
And she, you know, before I left, I mean, she did really special things with me. As I was waiting, we're on the veranda, and I left early. I left in the middle of the day. And I was gonna catch a flight. Oh, we were going home. And so I asked for some of Baba's hair for my husband. And Mara said, oh, she kept saying, I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get it. You know, I'm gonna go get it. Just wait here, wait here. So she goes and gets it. And then she comes back and gives it to me. And then I had a locket on. I've got all these things in a pouch. But I had a locket on, and she said, is Baba's picture in there? And I said, yes, Mara. And she says, let me see, let me see. So I opened it up, and she looked at it, and she kissed it. So
yeah. Wow.
I have her kiss.
Oh, you still have that picture?
I have it's a locket, and I have that.
And you still wear it?
No, I don't wear it. I have it in a pouch with Baba's hair and Mara's hair,
Oh,
all my precious things, you know,
hmm.
it's in there. So anyway, and then she said there was one person left, and that was when she was there. I gave her this person. There's only one person, and she was just there to take a picture. So then I had this picture. My house burned down, you know, after Meru left. But so I don't have the picture anymore. But it was a picture of me between Mara and Meru, and it was
Wow.
that was my dream. You know, that's just where I want to be. You know.
Meru or Mara?
Oh, Mara
Oh,
was
Oh,
Mara
wow. Between them?
right,
Wow.
Mara was on my left, and Mara was playing with my scarf. It was so sweet. She was playing with my scarf, and she was like, "How beautiful! How beautiful!"
Oh, Baba.
It was so sweet. And then when I left, you know, I feel weird because my back was to her, but I kept turning around, and even Meru left, and Mara was waving at me until I was out of sight.
Yeah.
So it's like she was happy. I know she was. It was like she knew. It was like she knew that she wouldn't see me physically again because she would be with Baba soon.
Yeah.
And that was but yeah, but it was she just knew always what to do.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love her giggle. I love her giggle when her voice just goes up, you know. She's got that little
little
bell.
girl.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Yeah, that says she's delighted, but she felt light as a fairy when I was with her. It was very light. So that, so I wasn't rooted to the spot so much.
You know, I wanted to read that little line that Baba said about way you Mikhail, you mentioned it early on, and I've got it right here.
Yeah, please do. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it says, your eyes, he's to Mehera now. Your eyes are so beautiful and deep. Forgive my eyes, sweet Mehera, if they keep gazing into their depths day after day,
Wow.
night after night, without one wink of sleep.
Can you read that again, please?
Sure. Yeah, I'll send it to y'all. Your eyes are so beautiful and deep. Forgive my eyes, sweet Mehera, if they keep gazing into their depths day after day, night after night, without one wink of sleep. Yeah, this is the Jeb Johnny that noted this down and told us, and that's special.
Wow.
That is so special, and that means that she never slept. And he didn't sleep, that's for sure.
Mm.
Masha, you unmuted to say something?
I was just thinking that I used to listen to a song about Baba coming to pick Mira up on the white horse in the midnight sky, and I just think about her riding off with him, waiting for him to take her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think of that song. If you think of the name, well, no.
Who was it? I have it on my phone somewhere,
Oh.
but it's
You could play it one time, maybe when yeah, if you find it, keep it and play it at a meeting.
I have it all. I have I keep everything. I've got like wow, Yeah, it's God, it wasn't Jamie Newell, no. Anyway, I'm gonna go look in my music real quick. I'll get it next time. Yeah.
Okay, I think might be a good time. It's a good time for me anyway. I'm getting a
I'm getting
little.
tired. I'm like, okay, I'm really tired.
Baba,
I met Mani, and Mani was, and I spent time with Meru, and so I came just after Mira passed, and I remember sitting on the porch with Mani, and I felt that same way. She was so animated and going in and taking out her little box with Baba's hair and telling all her stories, and she pulled me and Annie Lovett in 1994 on Silence Day they drove up in a limousine, the women Mandalay, and they pulled us out of the line and we decorated all of the places on Silence Day. And then I remember standing by that shed with had a cot in it, I forgot the name of it. And all these people were bowing down to me. I'm like, what? I don't even, what am I doing here, right? We were monitoring how many people went in at one time. So it was like, and I saw Baba then. I wasn't really completely a Baba lover then, I just saw him everywhere. And Annie Lovett said, "Oh, this is your Baba birthday." I said, "What's that?" I don't know. I was going to go to Europe, and my friend said, "No, you're going to India." And she bought me a ticket and put me on a plane. And in the airport before I left, my filling came out of my tooth. So I went to India with a missing filling. And I'm like, get there. And it's like, my friend said, "Take candy, don't give money because you're going to be really surprised, And it was like, oh, I had culture shock, It was like, whoa. Yes, but it was like, it was an experience. Yeah. It's like, whoa. Yeah. I spent a lot of time with Kitty and Corset
And Dolly, no?
yeah. Oh yeah. I went to tea at Dolly and Giles' house, and yeah, it was, but I never got to go for a long time because I was teaching. So I'd be going like Silence Day and Christmas and then one Armatithi. And that Armatithi, and I sang in the chorus with Debbie Nordine, and it was like, yeah, it was fun. In fact, I saw a video where I was sitting on the porch. I had a picture of Rosalie was there at the same time. I didn't know her then. So I'm looking and say, oh, there's Rosalie, right? So anyway, I'll stop blabbing, but I hardly ever
No.
talk about that stuff.
You're not blabbing. You're saying Baba things.
Yeah.
Hey, Baba.
Okay.
It is probably time to go. It's like,
Baba in me is a little hungry.
Baba
Beloved
and
Baba,
Betty needs a break. She's
you can
from
say a little
morning.
the Baba
Did
thing,
you
right?
eat anything? Did you have coffee, Betty?
Yeah.
Beloved Baba, help us to love you more and more and more
Um,
and more and still yet more till we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman until the very end. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki
Yeah.
Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Happy trails till the next time we all meet, right?
And dear Mera, Mera Baba, Baba Mera, Meher Mehra,
Yeah.
Mera Meher.
Thank you, Mara, for a lovely time with you all.
Yeah, it was lovely. Thank you all, and thank you, Betty, for arranging this. And thank you very much, Jay Baba.
He's been up since early this morning, right?
Oh, no, I went back to sleep.
Hey,
But
hey, Bob, everybody.
I've also
Hey,
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 Jay
Ralph showed up
Mehera.
now. Hey, Ralph.
Ralph has been here all along, like he's not apparently not here.
Quiet.
He's in the background, probably working. Poor
He's
fellow.
working. Yeah, he works a lot.
Oh, no, no.
Bye. Mwah.
Bye.
Jay Baba, Jay beloved Baba, beloved Mara. Thank you, Mara. All right, off. Oh, let's see. Off we go.